You're listening to the Incomparables Total Party Kill podcast, in which a group of friends play Dungeons and Dragons on the internet for your amusement. This is episode number 281, posted February 2021. Were there ever Chads in Barovia?
Welcome back to Total Party Kill. It's me, Tony Sindelar, a nerd, and today only a dungeon master. It's Tuesday night here at the Incomparable Network. We are continuing the adventures of the Dog and Pony Show. That's right, our Curse of Strahd compadres are in Barovia, mixing it up with vampires and all manner of not-so-great things. There's bad druids, there's like people that work for the druids. I don't write these things before I start the introduction. It's really just riffing, and you can tell sometimes more than others. Allow me to introduce our players. They will introduce their characters. I'm really hoping somebody who's not me will give us a reminder of what's going on, because I feel like when I give the recap, it assigns blame and responsibility to myself that today I'm unwilling to accept. First up, it's all his fault, Micah Sargent.
Oh, wow. I play Elevor Landman, the half-elf druid, and also Samus, the saber-toothed tiger.
Thank you, Micah. Next up, it's really only about 5% Erica's fault. Hi, Erica inside.
5? Sounds low. Anyway, yeah. I am playing Brildish, the Dwarven Paladin, and also the Dwarven Paladin's celestial pony, Pony Cindelarent.
Mm-hmm. Dan Morin, I got you pegged at like 17% fault.
It's also lower than I thought it would be, I'm going to be honest.
It's mainly on Micah, let's be clear.
Darn it.
I can't blame you. I blame Micah. Mm-hmm. I am playing Cast in Onatar's Crucible, a War-Forged Cleric.
Next up, it's Jane Rit. Jane, I got you pegged at like 8%.
Harsh but fair. Mm-hmm. I play Lena Dulina, the human rogue.
And last but not least, Aline Sims, you're in the Erica Club with 5%.
Cheers.
I would like a detailed accounting of this math, please.
Yeah, could someone do the math? I need to understand this.
Yeah.
I was told there'd be less math.
We leave that as an exercise for the listeners. Please report to us by tweet how many percentages.
Some percentage of it the listener's fault? Is that what happened?
No, this is all on us, not this guy.
And how did I, who play Imra Soliana, the Wood Elf Ranger, and her trusty dog Androdite, how did I get to 5%? Like, I want that accounting.
Well, 2.5% of it is Androdite's fault, and 2.5% of it is Imra's fault.
But why? I want the rationale.
Just needs enough to be go around.
You did come along with.
Yeah, there were a variety of places where, through actions and inactions, you enabled Elevor. There were a lot of times when you could have murdered him or allowed him to be murdered through your inactions, and none of those happened. So, but you collectively 5%.
Okay. So I would like to say that at one point I did convince Micah not to ditch Elevor as a character.
That's
true.
So
I actually feel like I have greater culpability than you were previously aware.
I was very sad about Elevor being kind of a turkey in our original thing and not.
I need to make some new calculations.
Okay. Get back to me, please.
The full history.
Yeah. All right. Let us remind our listeners what is all Elevor's fault. You have made it to the far-away walled city of Kresk, far on the western side of the valley of Barovia, perhaps far from the reach of one Strahd von Zarovich. You delivered some wine. The people thought that was great. You were relatively, I was going to say well-received. You were received by the Burgermeister. You did some carpentry. Someone forged some armor. Oh, yeah, and you took Arena Kolyana on her last visit to a lake. So, yeah, just a little bit of light lake tourism, midpoint in the adventure there, where Irina Kolyana disappeared in a swirl of water and air into the embracing arms of the ghost of someone named Sergei. Real strange. Well, you did that, didn't kill you, and you decided, let's go up the hill to the incredibly spooky abbey. And so you are now in the incredibly spooky abbey. You have met some of the inhabitants, such as Siegfried and Otto. They appear to be relatives. The abbot, who was the aforementioned kind of owner-operator of said abbey, he has a companion, a woman named Vasilika. And it seems like there's a variety of other creatures that live in and around the abbey grounds, who I believe Otto and Siegfried have mentioned to be their relatives. But your interactions with the abbey were with the abbot were somewhat strange, and Elevor took the moment to speak to him in a language that I don't think any of the rest of you can speak. Is that true?
Seems
Correct.
unlikely.
So Elevor, what did your words sound like to those who are not fluent in the tongue?
Oh, great. Here we go. Wait, hold on. I got to remember what I said before. Okay. Salasio Sanda.
So you heard Elevor speak in that way, and the abbot seemed to kind of transform into this being of light and wings and ivory skin, and sing back to Elevor, yeah. And all of you were a bit starstruck by that. There is a moment, and the abbot is the abbot again. He's a, young man, looks like maybe late 20s, early 30s, dressed in a simple brown robe, big religious symbol around his chest, and says, "Oh, pardon me. It has been so long since I have heard my native tongue. I think I lost concentration there for a second." And he looks around at all of you.
I'm going to roll a religion check, see if I know what the heck just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
Do you want to tell the listeners what you rolled, Dan? Because it's a podcast.
I rolled a 4.
Mm-hmm. What's your religion modifier?
3.
So when you say you rolled a 4, you mean?
I rolled a natural 1.
Mm-hmm.
I rolled a
mine was-
natural 2.
Mine was a 7 because I rolled a natural 5.
Wow. So I think it's safe to say that many of you are very startled to find yourself sitting around a dining room table, looking at this strange being that, it's still kind of burned into your eyes, even though the abbot is just sitting there again, of this wondrous creature with glowing, glistening golden wings.
Could I possibly have advantage on a religion check since I sort of invoked his angelic form?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do this twice and see what we get. All right, 21!
Woo!
Woo!
1-1.
I got a natural 20 plus 1.
Well, Elevor, it seems like the abbot's reaction to your words uttered in the celestial tongue seems like verified perhaps what your suspicions were, that the abbot is indeed a celestial being. Specifically, even I'll say with the 21, you recognize the type of angel he is. He is a diva, which is one of several angels that live on the celestial planes. And maybe that is something you have read about or seen in an illuminated manuscript, but probably had yet to ever see with your own mortal eyes.
Elevor says, Sandayara Sando, which translates to, do you know Beyonce? In Celestial. He's a diva.
The abbot just says in common, "I do not think I've had the pleasure." The abbot kind of looks up at the ceiling and claps and says, "Clovis, some music, please." And there is kind of the sound of some viola music drifting down. It's a bit of a jaunty jig. And Vasilika holds out her hand to you, Elevor, because you were about to dance with the abbot's friend.
I'm absolutely doing that. So we will do, let's see, I've got +3 on that.
Roll dancing.
Performance check.
14 on a performance check.
All right. So Elevor and Vasilika are dancing a jaunty jig in the middle of this chamber here in the abbot side room. The rest of you are just standing at the table. I guess you could decide if you're conversing with the abbot, avoiding eye contact by watching Elevor and Vasilica. You haven't seen Otto or Siegfried in a little while. They were not here for the abbot's transformation, and it seems safe to conclude that there is another person nearby, one Clovis, that the abbot spoke to, who must be within hearing distance of the abbot. Yes.
So when you were saying that you could barely remember how long you'd been looking out for this family, and said that it was your order, can we safely conclude that it was, in fact, you?
Oh, well, perhaps I should have said my orders. Yes, we have been here for very long. Very long. Long. It's been a long time.
And are there others of your kind in Barovia that you know?
No, I know with certainty I am all alone here.
That's very sad.
I'm afraid I've never had the pleasure of meeting a being such as yourself. I am fascinated to know
never
more
met
about you.
A being such as you, Crucible.
Well, that is a distinct pleasure in both directions, then.
Not that each of you is not unique in your many fascinating ways, but we do have so few visitors here in Barovia, and fewer still that trek to the Abbey of St. Martikov.
These visitors would like to leave if possible, but they find themselves beset by the same curses that all of the other visitors fall prey to. Do you know of any ways out of Barovia?
There are none. I too am a victim of this curse. It was not my intention to be here all these many years, but the way home for me is sealed as well.
How did you find
get
yourself here?
Yeah.
I came here. Well, time is different here, but I suppose you would think in terms of years? Well, it would probably have been several hundred of them ago. I came here to observe the works of St. Martikov, a good saint, a good man who was building up this abbey to care for the weak and the poor and the injured and the neglected. And sadly, this was the before times. Barovia was a different place then. It had been barely been called Barovia at those times. And it was, well, I suspect you're familiar with the work of the people call him the devil.
We call him the strudel dude.
That is a new nomenclature for me.
We're trying to spread it around. We hope you'll continue to use it.
I will take that under advisement.
We think perhaps devil confers upon him too much power and too much fear. Perhaps if we could reduce people's fear of him, they might feel more willing to challenge his authority.
That is a noble effort, but I say that you should take him quite seriously, as I assure you I do as well. The jig kind of fades out. Elevor, if you want to rejoin the conversation or keep dancing.
I think he'll keep dancing. I think that he wants to see if he can't get any more out of, I forgot her name. Basilica. But I don't know if you all want to keep talking to the abbot or if you want me to do a little bit with Basilica.
Let's do a Basilica aside.
Alrighty. Basilica, you're such a wonderful dancer.
She nods her head appreciatively, up and down.
So I must ask, have you always lived here, in the Abbey?
She nods her head affirmatively.
Interesting. And is it your purpose? Is it your life's purpose to entertain guests of the abbot?
She shakes her head no.
Okay. I understand that, we must speak in yes or no questions. Would you be able to tell me what your purpose is if it is a yes or no question?
She shakes her head yes.
Ah, wonderful. I'm glad that I have earned your trust, at least in this small way.
She kind of steps back and curtsies.
Oh, Do you know the vampire Strahd?
She shakes her head slowly, yes.
Do you consider him an enemy?
She's not sure how to respond.
Do you feel safe around the vampire Strahd?
Again, she's uncertain. She gives you a quizzical look.
Do you feel safe around the abbot?
She shakes her head, yes.
Do the people who live here feel safe around the abbot, the other people?
She shakes her head vigorously, yes.
Okay, and then one last question. Is the abbot responsible for the way the creatures look?
She shakes her head, yes.
Okay, I can't think of anything else to ask her. That would be yes
okay.
or no.
You continue to dance. The conversation, meanwhile, back at the table, continues.
Can I roll insight to see what I think his opinion of Strahd is?
You
Is
could
it
ask,
fear,
sure.
grudging respect?
Yeah, go ahead. Ask him. Or roll insight. I don't think you have directly asked him, which you could as well, but yeah. Feel free to roll insight, because Strahd has come up.
Oh, only a 16.
It seems like, I think, concern.
So I feel like a powerful being such as yourself, if they do not wish to be stuck here in these lands, if anyone could raise a challenge against the devil, it would be you. Have you attempted this? Have you considered it?
It is not my way.
If others were to challenge Strahd's authority, would you be able to lend support in some way?
I would need to be extremely careful in how I chose to do that. I have managed to live here in quiet solitude for all these past centuries and continue my work, and the devil has left me to my devices for the most part. There are times when I am asked for things, but I value his disinterest in my activities.
Does the devil know of your true nature?
I believe he suspects it.
What sort of things does he ask for?
Well, the one that has been concerning me for many past decades is Vasilika.
What does he want with her?
She is to be his bride. I have
Says
constructed
who?
her for him to his specifications.
Oh
What is it with people making dolls/people for other people in this place? Barovia sucks, man.
It is not my favorite of the realms.
How does Vasilika feel about this?
I do not think would be her first choice.
So she's like a special order?
Yes, well, to the extent I can, the Siegfried and Otto provide the materials that I have used to construct her.
Oh my god, they're grave robbers.
Does she look like Irina?
No, she does not. She does not bear any particular resemblance to Arena.
Is she made after, what was her name? Tatiana?
Tiana.
We've learned of Strahd's love when he was alive, who escaped his grasp.
I will admit that the resources I had available to me and my own feelings for what Vasilika would appreciate may have deviated somewhat from Strahd's specific desires.
Strahd is a monster, a terrible man with terrible appetites. If you care for Vasilika, you will stand with us against him and prevent him from taking more than he already has.
It is not just myself that I must look after. There is the entire Bellevue family here is I am their caretaker. If something were to happen to me, many dozens would suffer.
But
So he
many are
basically-
already suffering throughout Barovia.
The one lesson that Barovia teaches you is you could always suffer more.
Good god. Does he have any glow about him anymore? Or is he just sort of
Not so much.
deep down in this? Has he become no good anymore?
He seems, he's not cheery. That's for sure.
I know I'm not really talking to him. Can he manifest himself as that being for very long? Or has he lost his power? I'm kind of curious.
I think he returned to his
angel.
normal form.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Given that he's a dadgum angel, you'd think that he could Strahd if he wanted to. And so it's kind of odd to me that
maybe divas aren't everything they think they are.
Must be.
If we
Strahd is also extremely powerful.
If we decided to mount a challenge against Strahd, would you stand in our way?
I would. You seem like good people.
You
are. Speak in a way that I have not heard in ever so long. Your friend Elevor, he seems special.
That is a perfect word for our pal Elevor.
I will tell you, I have grown fond of Basilica. At first, she was just a creation, something I had built out of flesh and bone, but she is a person now, and I do not think that she would like to spend the rest of her existence living in that dark and gloomy castle. I suspect that she might be willing to help you in your quest.
But you wouldn't?
Well, I need to stay here. There are people I must care for. If you needed healing and were to come here, I would do all that I could. I, in fact, even have abilities that go beyond your mundane types of healing.
Like
even
to make healing potions that we could take along with us?
I could provide you some of these. If one of your allies were to fall in battle, and you were to return here swiftly, I could revive them.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
That is very kind of you.
Once a day.
Yeah, but you take a diamond.
Yeah, but come on, everyone's got payment, man.
How many diamonds do you have on your Crucible?
I think only one.
Really?
Okay.
I thought you got more than that.
No, I thought I only bought one because it was expensive.
Oh, that might be
It's like
You know what's
500
more expensive? You know what's more expensive, Dan? Death.
Yeah.
Fair.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like death is cheap.
I rolled a 12 insight on just his.
If
I just
anyone
want to
would
see
know,
how.
it'd be Erica. Would know the cost.
I just want to see how in earnest I thought he was. I don't know how much a 12 gets me as far as that goes.
He seems very earnest.
Lena sort of does an aside to the group and is like, "This is as the cards told us."
Trust
Gasp.
Madame Ava. Listen
And
to
the
the
birds.
birds.
Listen to the birds.
Oh, yes, Madame Eva. She is very wise. Oh, sorry. Team huddle. I'll back off.
Crucible looks at him kind of like beatifically and says, I think we must count you as an ally then. You seem
Aw.
like a good sort. And I think when push comes to shove, your true nature will be to support us.
Yeah.
That is very
So Sprillish.
benevolent of you to think so.
Is
Is there anything else I can tell you? I have been here for many centuries.
Can you just also... Go ahead, sorry.
I do worry about Basilica. Does she possess any skills in combat or any sort of magic ability? We are ultimately moving with the goal of going against the devil.
The abbot stands up and he picks up his the chair that he was sitting at, and he tosses it to Basilica and then kind of mimes like a smashing gesture with his hands, and Basilica just crushes the chair into splinters.
That's
Elevor's
hot.
just
With her bare
standing there.
hands.
That
Very
with his
good.
mouth open, like
That could have been Elevor.
that speaks right. That speaks so much more to your dancing ability. You're so light.
Brother marches
and
over and
amazing.
shakes her hand.
All right, hold on.
I will interrupt the dancing because that was great.
You gonna challenge this person to an arm wrestling
golly.
contest? Roll this.
Nope.
That might be problems.
I'm moderately wise.
Moderately.
Yeah, I'm not at all intelligent, but I am moderately wise. So
The abbot tells you Basilica is quite strong. I would not underestimate her.
Certainly
Would
not.
dream of it.
Not at this point. So do you have to send Vasilka away to Strahd, or can Vasilka sort of stay here while we handle our business
I have been
before you make the choice to send her off?
I've been training her here. And her training has perhaps taken longer than the devil would like, but I have assured him it was necessary, and I think that training could continue as long as is necessary.
Understood.
Do you have any information about either the drowned city of Berez or perhaps the Devil's Castle itself? Because those are two places that we definitely plan on going, and anything you could tell us would be very helpful.
What would you like to know about them?
Well, we are planning on going to Berez to look for some magic weapon of some sort. And apparently there's a Baba Yaga there. And if you know anything about her, if she has any weaknesses or if she's extra susceptible to any particular type of damage, or if she just
any type of gifts.
Yeah, if if she likes
riddles any way we
or something.
Can avoid her or trick her, or what are her likes and dislikes?
Put her to sleep.
Does she like pina coladas?
And walking in the rain.
Just checking stats.
Hold on, let me bring out my dossier on the Baba Yaga. I've got it right here.
Oh my gosh, flipping through the...
It was some time ago that Berez invoked Strahd's disfavor. There was a woman that he had demanded be turned over to them, and when they resisted, he punished the whole town. You can see why some in Barovia are not quick to rise up against him. And so he diverted an entire river and drowned the town. Its swampy ruins still remain. I believe it is a haunted place. There will likely be some ghosts there. And he turned it over to perhaps one of his most loyal servants, Baba Lazaga. She is a follower of Mother Night. Some say that she was Strahd's nursemaid. And she lives there in a house that is said to walk about the swamp.
What do you know about Strahd as a human in the long ago? Like,
when I first arrived here, Strahd was a human. He was just a man, an ambitious man. He sought power and glory and fortune and knowledge. He sought to master weapons and the dark arts. And then something very horrible happened. I am not certain of what, but he transformed into something else.
How did he gain so much power?
He made some kind of pact with the forces that keep him alive, or in a perpetual state of undeath. But at the same time, he is trapped here as well. I mean, the curse placed upon Barovia traps him here as well, in this sad, despondent land that he can never leave.
Well, it's probably good for the rest of the realms.
This is true.
I suppose so.
A way that he could be defeated if he were matched in combat? Or is there some weakness he might possess? Surely these forces he has made a pact with do not grant him power unlimited.
I believe that you have already met Madame Eva, and she knows Strahd perhaps better than any other person who walks the lands of Barovia, and I believe she knows of ways that you could find powerful allies, powerful weapons, and more information about his nature.
Well, she definitely led us here, to you and to Basilica.
And so I suppose it is Basilica's destiny to accompany you.
Well, we had a different companion who is now gone, so it would be kind of nice to sort of bring the party back up to our normal number. I don't know how Pony will feel about this, but...
I actually would like to know or ask about our friend. We were in the village and she was taken away. Can we get her back? Do you know anything of this? I don't know. She walked into the water. To the lake.
She's in that really blue lake that you have that sort of heals people, and she walked into it. Some being reached its hand out, and
somebody named Sergei.
Yeah, Sergei. Yeah, and said that she would be safe where he was taking her. But
she seemed pretty happy about it.
She seemed happy. Yeah.
Sergei was Strahd's brother. If you were to tell me a friend of yours had been pulled into a lake anywhere else in Barovia, I would assure you that they were dead. But that lake is a special place, a holy place, a safe place. And that is very strange, the story that you have told me.
What I will say is that we now have 100% track record for liberating Strahd's would-be brides.
True.
So
That's some really
Basilica,
good spin.
Basilica may not be safe anywhere in these lands, but we will do the best that we can.
She is perhaps best off with us, yes.
Let me tell you, I believe that Basilica is trained in the arts of combat. You will still find useful. We have been working on her dancing and etiquette. I was intended to deliver her sometime soon. It might be best that she wait here until you are destined to head to Castle Ravenloft, for if she was seen out and about on the road, that might raise questions.
That'll
Indeed,
give
that makes
Pony
sense.
some more time to get used to the idea.
Yeah.
The one thing I was missing, I was supposed to arrange some kind of wedding dress for her, and, well, there are limited options here in Barovia. I was planning to come to some kind of arrangement with the Burgermeister, and perhaps he could send a party to Vallaki where they might have a suitable tailor, and it's all a thing.
We know where we could steal one from. It's used probably though.
I could
Everything in
also,
Barovia is used.
I could also create one given the raw materials to do so.
Oh, I
And
mean, it's a
sew in some
horrifying
armor while I'm
union.
at it.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so cool.
Oh, yeah,
Like
yeah.
an underlayment of armor.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
chainmail laced wedding dress. Yeah,
No, and it looks like decorative. Like it's like a
Yeah.
cool metal corset, but it's actually very functional.
It's
Yeah.
I want a cool metal corset.
All right, where am I going to put Vasilica's
Wedding
stat
dresses for everybody.
Yes.
Makeover,
We're
makeover,
never see it coming.
makeover.
when all six of us
Makeover.
come in like veiled wedding dresses, and like then we just like that's the best undercover move ever.
Strahd. Hello to you. I am wonderful
Wow.
and I want to marry you.
Surprise wedding with 6 brides and all of them with swords.
Yeah, you know the old movie Seven Brides for Strahd.
And lots of garlic.
We are
underneath
storming
our-
Ravenloft and we are looking delicious.
All right, I am putting Vasilica's stat block in the Slack for you all.
Could we also ask the abbot if he knows how to destroy a vampire and if garlic actually is a good way to do it?
You can ask that in a second.
Brildish is going to
just
insist.
for reference, Vasilica is mechanically a flesh golem.
That is a horrible name for a
She
thing.
would prefer to just be called Vasilica. She's pretty powerful, but kind of slow moving. So her armor class is not very high, but she's got 93 hit points.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah.
She's immune to like everything: lightning, poison,
yeah, 'cause she's
bludgeoning,
constructed.
piercing, slashing.
Yeah.
Is fire real bad for her though?
Yeah.
She has
She's
dark
averse to
vision.
fires. Also, a mutable form. She can't be like polymorphed or anything.
Oh, and we can heal her with lightning.
Yeah, lightning. Lightning absorption.
Wow.
Tank.
Yeah.
She also, the abbot kind of whispers to you, just as an aside, should she lose about half her hit points, she may go berserk. So.
I feel like we should ask Vasilica, since she is a being with her own free will.
Agency, yeah.
Vasilica, we have grave concerns about your husband-to-be, and all things being equal, we would prefer to free you from this obligation. But going against him might be dangerous. Would you be willing to assume some risk to be free of this?
Vasilica is a challenging creature for podcasting purposes, but because her nonverbal response is that she cracks.
She cracks her knuckles.
Punches her hand and
Oh
cracks
my
her
God.
knuckles.
Brildish comes over and gives her a fist bump.
Yeah.
It's
Well, Lena,
sturdy.
I think you're off the hook for being Brildish's new best friend.
Oh, that's good.
Oh.
So let me see. You were asking. Sorry, I did as an aside.
We found happy moments in Barovia.
Oh,
and I never thought it would
vampire.
happen.
The abbot is like, oh, I'm glad that she is capable of friendship. I was unsure about that. The first several experiments were
Check it off
tragic.
your list. Yeah.
Yes, so you asked about Berez, Castle Ravenloft. Well, Strahd named it after his mother. That's a nice thought.
Her name was Ravenloft?
I believe her name was Queen Ravonia.
Oh,
Ravenloft
that
to
makes
our
more
friends.
sense.
That was also my thought. Broldish, it's okay.
You asked, to my knowledge, I have never seen him eating garlic, but I do not believe he has any innate aversion to it.
I could have sworn.
Is there
Yeah.
anything that a
Broldish,
vampire...
leave the abbot a garlic clove so that he can
Just in case.
slip it the next time Strahd visits.
Yeah, see if there's an experiment.
Well, even though Strahd von Zarovich may be the most powerful of all vampires, he does have some of their basic fundamental flaws in that they are beings of the night and beings of evil and darkness. He cannot enter a residence without an invitation from one of the occupants.
Seriously? That's a real thing? That's Elvor says that.
The abbot nods his head. Seriously.
You know what this means? We need to buy a house.
And take
Would-
it everywhere.
Would
Renters are the
a
most
wagon
vulnerable.
count?
No.
Rats.
The abbot looks at you and cocks his head. Is a wagon a house? No.
Whoa,
our
is a hot
friend
dog a sandwich?
Our friend Rictavio has a wagon that basically is a residence.
Tiny house.
Yeah.
I
The
suspect
tiny house movement has not made it to Barovia.
I
take
suspect he lives in a tower for a reason, people.
Oh, so you know Rictavio.
I've been here for many, many years.
Has he ever actually told you a full story, or is that kind of his thing? He always says he has a story to tell and he never tells it. Is that sort of what we can expect from Octavio?
From what I have seen, yes.
Okay, thank you. I was...
Where was I? Strahd cannot be submerged in running water or he will take damage.
like a cat.
I suppose. I think he will take more damage than a cat. The traditional way to incapacitate a vampire is to drive a wooden stake into its heart while it is
Tickle
incapacitated
his feet.
in its coffin.
So it needs to be in its coffin with running water and then stake to the heart?
I think the running water is that would be for a different scenario.
Okay,
I'm sorry,
gotcha.
what kind of steak? Like a raw steak?
Wooden stake.
Oh, okay, that's different.
Gotcha.
So like a
an
wooden model of a
overcooked
steak?
Is there any particular wood that is best?
I believe that ash is good. Pine will do. Golthias tree, definitely not.
Okay, good to know.
Mahogany, right out.
And then, of course, all vampires are extremely sensitive to sunlight. Though, of course, how often does the sun shine in Barovia?
Not
Only
often.
Is that why
when
the
we
sun
look
doesn't
into your
shine in
eyes.
Barovia?
I'll tell you, it used to shine.
Huh.
In addition to being a vampire, he is, of course, an extremely powerful magic user. He's capable of changing shape. He can turn into a variety of forms. I believe that the people have spoken of him turning into mists and wolves and bats, all manner of horrible creatures.
Yeah, I think we saw the bats.
And it is said he can command bats and rats and even the undead at times.
Oh, dear.
I just had a thought. Elevor,
And if he looks into your eyes, he can control your soul.
Oh, we saw him
is
do
there a
that
way
too.
to protect against that?
Survive on a DC 17 wisdom saving throw, he says.
Good to know. Good to know.
In Celestial.
You know.
I now like to believe that you can totally talk about the rules of D&D, but you have to do it in Celestial.
I think Elevor is going to kneel down before before the abbot, and in Celestial will ask to beg one boon. And then in Common, he will say, many of us have some level of magical ability. And I wanted to know, in a place with such little light, if you happen to have any magical weaponry, say a wand or a spell book, that could help us to bring light to a dark place, that could provide sunlight in a dark place that we could use against the vampire Strahd?
Let me think on that. There are some things here. It's been a while. I may need to check the basement, the attic, and the other wing. I will find you something before you depart to help you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
Give me 2 levels, Elevor. 2 levels. I need 2 levels before I get a spell that lets me
I'll
generate
give
sunlight.
you 2 levels, buddy.
Let me level with you.
My Iota.
Are there other things that you would like to ask this, the most ancient of all creatures in Barovia?
I understand now your reticence to fight Strahd head on. You know, you have creatures who you are protecting. However, there may be some in Barovia who are fed up and more reckless, and who would be willing to aid us, or, you know, in this potentially certainly desperate but potentially hopeless battle. Do you know of anyone who we might be able to enlist, such as Vasilica, such as others we have met along the way?
Have you met the Mardukov family?
We have.
Yes.
They are those that work the most actively to oppose Strahd, and have so far evaded his detection.
Do you know where their other magical seeds went to? Because they had 3 of them, as you probably know, because you've been here for so long, as you keep reminding me. And we just went and got one back from some nasty druids on a very, very steep hill. And there were 2 other ones, and I'm told that they could make different kinds of wine with these other seeds. And I'm a little bit bored with the same red wine that we've had ever since we got here, and I miss beer so much. So I'm just wondering if you know about the whereabouts of those seeds, because I understand it is not an important thing to do right now, but just in the long run, I feel like the Mardukov family could use those seeds.
Each of those seeds was eventually taken by Strahd's agents. The first one, many, many years ago, I believe was delivered and is kept by him somewhere in Castle Ravenloft.
Oh.
The second one, a few years back, was delivered to him, and he gave it to his most prized servant, the Baba Lazaga in Berez. And the third, most recently stolen and then returned by the Druids of Yester Hill, of which you know more than I.
Tell me, were there ever Chads in Barovia?
No.
Wow.
That seems good.
It's true.
A bell begins ringing. Dong, dong, dong. And Siegfried and Otto kind of lope into the room, and he says, pardon me, it is time to feed the inhabitants of the Abbey. This will take me a little bit of time. You feel free to wait here or accompany me, and I'll be back shortly. This will take a little bit of time. Siegfried and Otto make their way over, and there's basically like a giant, it must be like, you know, an 80-gallon pot of stew that's been simmering on the hearth there, and they have like a little cart, and one of them's like loading the big hot steaming cauldron of stew onto the cart, and the other one is pushing a second cart stacked with bowls and kind of wooden spoons, and the abbot heads over to kind of supervise and observe them.
I feel good about this situation, and I do not want to learn any more about it.
I know, right?
I feel like I've never heard those words come out of Lena's mouth. I feel good about the situation.
I know.
It's just like, what?
I know, but like, come on.
So you'd like to learn more?
Crucible is unendingly curious and will always be interested to know more.
Let's just go to bed.
I do not require sleep, Lena Delina.
when the soup gets to Brildish, she's going to start sort of grumpily just putting a bunch of garlic in it because she knows it's not good for vampires anymore.
So they specifically seem to be loading up the soup onto carts to take out of this room.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So Otto and the abbot, and I've got too many tokens in here. Otto and Siegfried are wheeling carts with soup and bowls out of this kind of, I don't know what to call this, banquet hall that you're hanging out in. And so the abbot says, I will return shortly. If anyone wanted to accompany them, you have been invited. Vasilika is hanging out here. I think
I'll
you know
go.
If
that somebody
Vasilka
else is-
wouldn't, if Vasilka would have went, then Elivor would have went. But Vasilka's
Crucible is going to go with
They're
them.
kind of buddies.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
All right. So splitting the party. So Crucible and
Okay.
Imra are gonna go with
As well as Samus.
the abbot. Okay. Androdite is staying where, Imra? Does it matter?
Androdite's coming with.
Okay. So half of you are gonna accompany the abbot. Lena Delina, you are gonna stay here with Elivor and Vasilika.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Broldish, you're gonna stay here as well?
Yep.
All right. So about half are in place. So the bell is ringing. It sounds like the bell is probably coming from the building that you are all in and above you. So the abbot, Otto, Siegfried, with Crucible and Imra and animals in tow, exit the kind of main building of the abbey and are out in the little kind of courtyard between things. Otto and Siegfried start pouring some of the soup into little bowls, and they're going to these. They take turns running back and forth between their carts, and there are various little. You would have thought probably they were just like storage compartments, but there's these kind of like lockers, cabinets around the edges of the courtyard, and they're all kind of, there's a lot of scratching and rattling at them, and they're kind of carefully opening each of these things, handing in a bowl full of stew, kind of taking an old sad looking bowl with dried stew on it from the bottom of the little room that they're opening, and running back and forth between the cart, clearly delivering stew to many people who live in these little, I don't know what to call them, cubbies around the
Cells.
yeah,
Crucible
around.
would like to.
I was avoiding that terminology. Around the courtyard. Siegfried
slightly better than
leaves,
cages.
yeah. Siegfried leaves a bowl of stew on the edge of the well, and carefully leaves a bowl of stew just on the periphery of the creature that was kind of flapping around in a circle where it was tied to a stake here. And then the abbot is just kind of supervising all this, nodding his head. They look like they still have a great deal of stew to dispense. It looks like they are headed for the large building on the north side of the abbey grounds.
Can I inquire of you what afflictions has stricken these people?
The abbot says, sadly, many. When I first came here, the Bellevue family, the original Bellevues, there were many of them, and they were afflicted with leprosy. I attempted to cure them and transform them into the forms that they sought to be in, but some of my work was less perfect than others, and my work continues on their descendants.
Hmm.
In addition to their various physical challenges, sadly, many of them are quite mad.
Are there any resources you have need of that we could help provide, perhaps retrieve for you in order to ease their suffering, or perhaps effect some sort of cure or remedy or treatment?
Their condition is a complex mismatch of mental health, genetic abnormalities that they have inherited, and my own, so far, insufficient magical attempts. I suspect this will be the work of many of... this will be my work for some time to come.
Understood. But perhaps do not, of course, hesitate to call upon us if we may be of service in this regard.
The abbot and Siegfried and Otto, they start leading the way over to the doorway to this structure on the north side of the courtyard. Meanwhile, back in the south building, so Elivor, Broldish, Lena Delina, and Vasilika, the ringing bell has stopped ringing. Just to remind you, you're in this kind of nice little banquet hall where you met the abbot and Vasilika. There were, when you came in, clearly stairs down to a lower level and stairs up to an upper level of this structure.
I assume that Brildish is just handing her things to crush.
I mean, they're not my things, but
But
yes.
they're things.
But
But they
yes.
are things.
Just garlic paste oozing down her wrists.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Vasilka, do you eat?
I was wondering about that
She
too.
kind of nods her head, says, shakes her head no.
I'm feeling rather peckish myself. I feel it would be rude to eat in front of you. Do you feel it's are you good?
She just, does the kind of shrugs.
Like no big?
Yeah, gesture to you.
Would you like to come sit with us while we sort of do that energy thing we do?
She nods her head appreciatively and comes and sits with you at the table.
Cool.
Watches you eat.
Nom nom nom.
She's just kind of staring at you. Probably the abbot didn't eat much either, so not a lot of opportunities to
That's
observe.
true.
So Elevor, Brildish, and Lena, you're just gonna hang out and enjoy some stew with in the presence of Basilica.
Mhm.
You don't want to sneak off and do anything dangerous.
Lena, that she loves to sneak off and do dangerous things.
That
But
is
she
the
seems
carrot
so-
I am dangling
so-
right here.
Yeah, she seems so superstitious that if she turns over a rock, she's gonna find worms.
Okay.
I'm with
So-
you. I'm with Lena Dulina. What just like I don't want to mess this up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Brildish
Someone,
is
Adam's
sneaky,
been
so.
awesome.
Someone in the from the floor above you starts playing the viola again. It's kind of a slow, kind of sad, kind of slow, mournful kind of song. Meanwhile, back on the north side of the courtyard, the abbot has a big chain with this religious iconography on it, and there's also a key on it, and he takes it out and unlocks the door and leads your way into the north wing of the abbey. Siegfried and Otto are pushing their carts of stew and bowls along with him. This room is quite loud. You hear kind of the sounds of screaming and shrieking and chattering of clearly dozens of voices calling out on top of each other. You head into the first room here. Looks like at one point it might have been an office, but it's has not been used that way in quite some time. The furniture is all kind of falling apart. You see a stairway leading to an upper level here, and then one long hallway with what can only be described as cell doors and windows looking into chambers full of creatures.
Oh,
Pony's
gosh.
peeking in the door. He wants to see where they went.
All right. Also, patrolling up and down the corridor is what appears to be a flesh golem, but it does not seem hostile to you. The corridor, it's loud. There's all this kind of cackling and screaming, and people yelling over each other. It smells horrible. It's gloomy. It's not well lit. And then there's this monstrous lumbering shape of a flesh golem that comes kind of wandering out of the gloom. The abbot kind of greets it, and then it continues its patrol.
Seems sad.
Yeah. So the abbot, Otto, and Siegfried begin moving up and down the hallway, handing bowls of stew into through the barred doors into to handing them to the inhabitants of these various rooms here. These seem to be there's several dozen, presumably relations of the Bellevue family. They all seem to be in various strange states, both physically and mentally. Many of them, again, have kind of a mismatch of kind of animal appearances. Some of them are fighting. Some of them are sitting quietly, singing off key. Some of them are very hungry, looking at you and waiting for their food expectantly. And it's a very strange scene. So it's going to take the abbot and Otto and Siegfried a while to feed all these creatures their bowls of stew.
Crucible will offer to help ladle
Okay.
out stew.
All right, Crucible. Many hands make light work. So Crucible is helping ladle out stew. Imra, you're along for this ride. Do you want to be doing anything?
I'll ask the abbot how I can help.
Okay. So the abbot is very excited. Thank you. Otto and Siegfried can only do so much, and so you all pitch in and are and delivering stew to various creatures. It is quite a strange sight. I'll just kind of describe these rooms one at a time. This first chamber on your left, it looks like it was at one point some kind of like, maybe nice bed chamber, but the furniture has all been destroyed. There's 3 kind of shrieking Bellevues in there that kind of cower at the sight of you at the door as you leave bowls of soup by the door. One of them looks like they're holding something shiny. The next room up, this one seems a little bit more out of control. There's another a quartet of Bellevues there, but they appear to be in kind of more of a fight. There's wreckage all around this room while a 5th watches the fight and cackles. It's very strange. In the moving on down the hall, there's a group of 7 Bellevues seated in the middle of the room, forming a circle, and they appear to be, it looks maybe like singing or chanting something, attempting to do it in unison, but not really. The abbot kind of, gives them a peaceful look and places 7 bowls by the door that they don't seem too interested in yet. The furthest at the end of the chamber, the northmost chamber, there's 9 Bellevues in here, and they're hungry. They're all waiting by the door silently, looking at you eagerly, and grab their bowls as they're put through the bars and kind of run to various corners to eat, looking over their shoulders suspiciously. You come back around the other far end of the hallway here. It does look like there's a door at the end of the hallway that leads north out of the abbey to the abbey grounds itself. Let's see here. The next room here at the end. This room contains a fort that the Bellevues seem to have made out of pieces of shattered furniture and drapery. None of the Bellevues present themselves, but you hear cackling laughter coming from inside the fort. The next room these chambers start to be a little bit more crowded. This one seems to have some perhaps there are family units in here. You see Bellevues, and some of them are holding kind of small children or even babies. They look at you, suspiciously, but not very aggressively. It's all kind of filthy, and there's lots of debris and bits of food all over the floor. The next one, as you're getting toward the end of the hallway here, there's 8 Bellevues crowded into this room. They're singing and kind of cavorting around. They seem to not really be aware that you're even at the door. And then the final room is crowded with Bellevues, and they're just looking at you. It's packed wall to wall with Bellevues, and they seem kind of just unaware of what's going on in there. But one by the door kind of begs for food as the abbot is giving passing bowls of stew inside. So that is what's happening on the north side of the abbey. Meanwhile, back in the south wing, Basilica is watching you all eat.
Nom nom nom.
Have you ever tried to eat?
Basilica shakes her head no.
Do you want to?
She pauses a moment to think about it. Shakes her head yes.
I will. Were we served any food here?
Yeah, I think
we
you were
okay.
served like fancy tea. I think.
I will pass her like a finger sandwich then.
All right. She shoves the finger sandwich into her mouth and chews it noisily, and then it kind of just falls out of her face. Because,
that was a very
not
good
a bad
try.
first attempt. Yeah,
not trained in swallowing.
Definitely something we could work on if you were interested. Can you taste? Could you taste what it tasted like?
She shakes her head no.
Did you choose the name Basilica, or was it given to you?
She's not sure.
Well, if at any point you decide on a new one, I don't know how you would communicate it to us, but if you manage to, we will gladly use it.
Yeah,
She shakes her head appreciatively.
We'll give you a
The
stick
sound
and some
of
soil.
the sound of viola music has stopped and
I
has
was
been
about to ask
replaced
about that.
with the sound of very loud snoring coming from above.
Is the snorer / instrument player above a friend?
She shakes her head yes.
Do you think they would like to join us at the table for a conversation?
She shakes her head no.
Are they a bit of a loner?
She shakes her head yes.
And I assume then going upstairs would disturb this person, yes?
She kind of shrugs. She's not sure.
Would you recommend that we see any more of the Abbey?
No idea.
Okay.
She shrugs at you.
All right.
Perhaps, yeah.
Back on the other side, the Abbot and Otto and Siegfried are finishing up the work of feeding all these dozens of Bellevue relatives who seem to be imprisoned here, and they're preparing to make their way back across the courtyard and return to the group. Crucible, Imra, anything else that you wanted to accomplish here?
I'm just, not that I don't trust him, but I will just roll a medicine check. See if there's anything I can learn about this. 22.
What are you trying to learn about?
Trying to learn about anything I can determine from the condition of any of these.
Well, let's see. Their condition is not great. There are a lot of them. They do seem to be well fed, but they do not seem to be malnourished. But they do, they are kind of imprisoned here. That you study these, and perhaps you've read about these somewhere. The unfortunate term for them is mongrel folk, Crucible, which are humanoids that have either they directly or their ancestors underwent some manner of magical transformation, such that they have various non-humanoid construction to them, and tend to incorporate a variety of animal features. Some creatures seek out this type of transformation in the hope that they can elevate themselves above humanity. Some people are subjected to this as a punishment. It is not necessarily in any way linked to their mental state.
I wondered about that.
Yeah, does there, just based on my medical knowledge and any sort of magical or religious stuff I can bring to it, does it seem like there would be anything else that could be done for them that is not already being done?
It seems like probably not. It probably, it's challenging. A mongrel folk could be returned to its original form with a greater restoration spell, but that is not necessarily true for the descendants of them.
Okay.
So,
I'll ask the abbot how some of the rooms are really crowded and some only have a few people in it. Why, how did that happen? Did they just kind of go where they wanted to?
More or less, some of them get along better with others than those. They're, it's not like they're forced to be in one versus the other.
Do they get time out of the rooms where they can run around?
The abbot looks a little nervous about this. It's very difficult to make sure that they are contained safely. There have been concerns. It has been many decades since, but there were incidents in the past where some of them escaped and went down to Kresk and caused a great deal of problems.
It's unfortunate.
So the abbot leads the way back to the south wing. Otto and Siegfried have various chores to do, but the abbot retakes his place at the head of the table here in the south wing. and looks at you all as you all kind of reassemble and says, well, this has been a big day, a momentous day for us here at St. Mardikov's. A day like this, well, we've never had a day like this. You will return when you are ready to take Vasilka with you. You are, of course, free to spend the night here, and I will find a parting gift for you that will hopefully prepare you for the challenges ahead. And should you think of more questions, I can tell you more about the nature of Barovia. But it is good to have visitors here under our roof.
One last question before we go to bed. Can you name one thing that isn't in Barovia?
Well, there are many things that are not in Barovia.
Yes, we've started to collect a list of things. Maybe something that you have realized is not in Barovia that you, by golly, wish was in Barovia.
I wish there were more souls.
Oh.
Good night. And so we draw this somber episode to a close. You have learned much, and yet with each answer there are more questions. What is the nature of Strahd, and how can he be defeated? Will you persevere where so many, just many have failed before you? Can the abbot truly be trusted? He seems sincere, but also clearly not of this realm. Will Vasilka be a trusted ally, or will she kill each and every one of you with her bare hands?
Just bare hands?
For answers to questions such as
I've
these,
made friends with a bear.
Tune in next time to Total Party Kill, Dog and Pony Show, Curse of Strahd. Dun-dun-dun. The end.
Now let's translate the whole episode into
Celestial.
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 Oh,